everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of the Morrison Report podcast. Today, we have with us the founder of Investium, Jonathan Faerman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Davel. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So why don't you tell us, what is Investium?
What is Investium? So Investium is a platform where people meet to invest together in real estate. Investing in real estate is difficult. It requires time, knowledge, skills, money, among other things. And we found that people, when they pool all the resources together, they can invest together, they can achieve much more together. So Investium, you can think of it, if you want, as a dating site, but for real estate investors. So it's free to use. It's completely free for anyone to use. To create an account, it's super easy. Takes 3 minutes to create an account. You will be prompted a couple of questions for you to detail what are your investment preferences, right? Instead of your partner preferences, your investment preferences. So the type of property, the type of strategy, your budget, your location, and that's it. You're inside. And once you're inside of the platform, you can see many other individuals just like yourself, and they will be matched with you and sorted based on your preferences. So people that are aligned with your with the preferences that you detailed. And the most novel part is you're going to be able to see private investment groups that anyone can create. You can create yours, or you can join an existing one. Let's say, for example, you saw a very nice property multiplex that you would like to invest, but you don't have enough capital. So what you would do is you go to Investium, will create an investment group saying, hey, I want to purchase, looking for 3 partners to purchase this 6plex south of Toronto, to say something. And then people, they can apply and request access. It's private, so you need to grant access to people. Everything that is discussed in there is completely confidential. And once you grant access to these investors, you will join them in this group where you can work and collaborate together. There are many tools like sharing links, tasks, files, so you can discuss there. And when you're ready, then you can set it offline and you can visit the property and conduct the investment itself.
Cool. That sounds interesting. How long have you been around for? How long have you been in business for?
So the platform, it took around 1.5 years to build, and now it's been less than a year that the site has been live.
Okay.
We have a couple of hundred of investors that they are on several investment groups. Some of them are to buy multifamily, some of them are to develop. There are one for land, if I'm not mistaken. So there is a bit of everything, and people, they show their interest, they access these investment groups, they chat together to exchange knowledge and to see how they can actually invest, right, and complete projects.
Perfect. So Jonathan, tell us a little bit more about your background and how you came to be, what's your journey into this?
Yeah, thank you for that. It's actually interesting. I actually built Investium kind of like as a personal need. I became a real estate investor more or less by chance, and I became really an enthusiast. I really liked it. So I was living downtown Montreal. I had my condo, and then I got married. I had a kid, so it was time to move to the suburbs. But I still have my condo, so I bought a house and I rented out my condo. Funny enough, the day after I signed with my tenant called me saying he wasn't going to be able to pay. So it started the right way, the adventure. And a couple of years later, I got that sorted out. And a couple of years later, I wanted to sell the condo and grow, right? And exchange that condo for a duplex, a triplex, or something bigger. And I realized I didn't want to do it alone. Not only because of I didn't have all the money that I needed to buy a 6plex, let's say, but having kids, I didn't want to do it alone. The time commitment, the skills, I wanted to diversify the risk a bit. And I realized that it wasn't easy to meet people to invest together. I didn't want to do it with friends and family. That tends to end up very poorly. So I wanted to meet new people to do it, and I couldn't. It was in the middle of the pandemic on top, so meeting new people in live was not easy. So I said, okay, if I have this issue, I'm sure other people also has this issue. They're looking people to invest together and they cannot find it. So that's how I created Investium. That's kind of like the story behind it.
No, that's cool. That's really interesting. I mean, I'm a real estate investor as well, and I also invest with partners for kind of everything that you just said, is that it's not just about being able to utilize all of our collective money, but it's also about being able to utilize our collective time, energy, and brain power. I do like having other people to bounce different ideas off of, and one of my partners can be a lot more handy than I am to say, hey, they're going to do something. And then I'm more sort of marketing focused and I can do something. So I do like the idea of having partners to help the investment journey, because I see the benefit in it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great to hear.
Yeah. So tell me, is there a fee or anything associated with their website? Like, not sorry to be so crass, but how do you make money?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, the site is completely free. Anyone can create an account. Anyone can create investment groups. There are no limitations as of now. And the reason why it's free is because I want to lower the barriers of access of entry to real estate. If I find that I suddenly put a fee there, then it's going to be another barrier of entrance that people they may not want to cross. And I find that this site adds more value the more people they use the site. So I want to maximize that. So that's why there are no fees for now. As of now, I'm financing it myself with my partners, with my investors in this. In the future, to answer your question, in the future, the way we're planning to sustain the site is through very targeted ads and relevant ads towards investors. I've spoken with many developers or other big projects owners that they will be very, very happy to put in front of the right investors, the right projects, right? Because as I mentioned, when you create your profile, you will say, I'm interested in buying multifamily properties near, I don't know, in Ontario, for example. Then some developers will be very interested in putting some projects in front of you. And they will be willing, obviously, to pay for that service. And I find that's a win-win situation. It's for Investium can maintain itself, for developers can provide the service, and for users, they can find projects that are relevant to them. So it's also a win for them.
Perfect. That makes sense. It's funny. And thank you for mentioning that, because then of course my next question was going to be, how are you going to monetize this site? Because, I always have to follow the money. How does it work, really?
Absolutely.
So you'll have developers. Will you also perhaps, sell advertising to mortgage companies like a Monster Mortgage or anything like that as well too?
So no, I'm not going to sell advertisement to multiple mortgage companies. Something else we are working on right now that should be live in the next couple of weeks is to help users and investors to create a team. I know that to invest in real estate, you need a team of people to help you. Like exactly the people that you mentioned, that you need a real estate agent, you need a mortgage broker, you need a notary or a lawyer, you will need insurance, so many things you will need, and that's a team that needs to be there to help you. So what I'm
Mhm.
doing is I'm contacting handpicked professionals with many years in the industry that are going to be there in the site. So as a user, you click a button and you will have the list of all these professionals. You won't have to sign, like to fill a form and send it and then have 5 people to call you. That's a very poor experience. So in here, you will see the number of the person and you will call the person directly. So, and the person is waiting for the call, right? So you will have the team of people to help a user to conduct the business to complete the project.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was wondering about that. And so, in terms of so what's your work background before you did this? Did you come from a finance background, a real estate background? What's your working background before Investium?
So I'm in the data space and data science and data analysis, and I've been working on that for more than 10, 12 years now. So analyzing data, that's something I've always done, even analyzing data or real estate data to know where to purchase a property, what are the locations that are more seeked or perhaps even more profitable. So it's really the data space. And I find that with Investium can marry really the data space with the real estate. It's a very, very nice combination. And I think it's something that it's not super mature. I think that it can be added a lot of value there.
Perfect. And people are, in terms of the areas where people are focused on their real estate investing asks in Investium, is it just, sort of Quebec and Ontario at this point? Is it the world? Is it Canada? What's the area that you would?
Yeah, I would say it's mostly Quebec and Ontario for now, more in Quebec than in Ontario. I'm in Montreal, so obviously I started here and it's expanding. I've seen some people in Ontario and I've seen some people from the West as well. Places around Vancouver, it's so expensive that you need partners. A normal person, normal working person will need partners if you want to invest in real estate. So I've seen some people in the West as well. Um, they're starting to pop up a bit everywhere.
Perfect. And have you seen any successes on your platform yet? I mean, I know that you said it's really only been live for just under a year, but have you seen, any successes yet? Have people done deals together?
Yeah, I've seen multiple things that I consider success. I've seen multiple projects being created. I've seen multiple people joining those projects, and I've seen people discussing within those projects how to conduct businesses and how to do it. So all of those things are for me. I call it success because it validate kind of what I'm doing, right? People joining, creating groups, joining the groups, discussing together. All those things are happening. So people are meeting and they are working together.
That's great. Now, is it possible, like, do you have any sort of checks and balances for possible fraud?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. That's the first question people always ask me. And we've put in place many layers of security. Number one is when you create an account, it's a two-step verification. We use the same system that Google uses, or with your phone number. So right off the bat, you cannot create many accounts. For each account, you will need a phone number. Then the second step is there is an ID verification in place. So you can get a check mark, a green check mark next to your name, and that means you validated your account with a government ID. So you need to take a picture to your government ID and a selfie, and you get a green check mark. Again, another layer. It's very difficult to do that multiple times. And the
Hmm.
third layer is you can flag bad behavior like fraud or spam. You can flag that behavior and that account will get deactivated, and it cannot create another account. It will need another phone number, it will need another passport. So we've added multiple layers to prevent bad experiences.
Perfect. That's great. Because, yeah, I mean, it seems like these days fraud is sort of rampant.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So then talk to me about I mean, we were talked about the successes that some people have seen using the system. Have there been any challenges for people or yourself using the system?
Absolutely. So I think that the major challenge right now, I think, is people are just waiting for something to happen. Not everyone is very proactive in terms of contacting others and starting the discussions or creating their own groups. So I think that's the biggest challenge right now, in which we have seen a lot of investors wanting to invest, but everyone is just waiting. No one is taking the first step. So if someone really motivated would come, create a group and start recruiting people, you can contact anyone in the platform and recruiting them. You can invite them to your group. Then I would see it's a low-hanging fruit for someone to complete their project, because the people are really waiting and seeing.
No, that's really interesting. Is there anything else that you think the listeners should understand about Investium?
Um, I think we discussed the main points of Investium.
Okay.
I think it's just I think one more element I think would be interesting, which is how to create these partnerships and how to find the right partner. I think that's also very very important for people that they haven't gone through a partnership at least once.
Hmm.
And I think that there are multiple things. The first thing is just the first step is always to say hi. That's a question people ask, like it looks so far away. I think you just need to say hi to give the first step. And then there are two things that I recommend. The first thing is to start with low commitments and small commitments. For example, doing a small investment in a research or signing a paper in front of a lawyer. A very small commitment that can truly show if the other person is really committed or not.
Mm.
If he's not willing to spend $200, $300 on signing a paper, well, he's not going to spend 100,000, 300,000 in the property. So right off the bat, something to really find serious partners. And the other element is to create a very detailed partnership agreement. That's super important, detailing how the losses are going to be shared, how the profits are going to be shared, how the work is going to be shared, what's going to happen in each possible scenario, what's the scope of the partnership, what is that you want to invest in, what are you comfortable with, what are you not comfortable with. Having a very comprehensive partnership agreement it really prevents very bad misunderstandings.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, with a lot of the investments that I have with partners, it is about let's get it on paper, let's have a partnership agreement so that, all the checks and balances are there and, things that might happen later on in the future or have been thought of. So, yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
And so, Jonathan, how would people reach out to you if they're interested in learning more about Investium? What's the best way for them to reach you?
Perfect. So my email is jonathan@investium.ai. That's one way I always answer. In the platform itself, you can find me. I tend to speak with a lot of users. My LinkedIn, Jonathan Faerman, as well. Those are great ways to find me. A lot of people have reached out to me after listening to podcasts, for example, or joining the platform, and I'm delighted to speak with them. It's great.
And what's your website?
So it's www.investium.ai.
Perfect. Great. Now, what's the AI connection?
We are trying to use machine learning and AI to match users,
Ah,
really use that information that they provide when they create the account to put in front of them like-minded investors.
interesting. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Jonathan. It's been really interesting, and I'll check out your website, maybe even for myself. Who knows?
Thank you so much, Davel. It's been a pleasure.
Great. Thanks so much, and thanks everyone for listening to the Morrison Report today.